991, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. Hello there. Yes, it is a new episode of Hampton Roads Voices, and I'm so excited because I think this topic, like all the topics that we do on the show, is well needed, okay? Very much so needed. And of course, we can't have Hampton Roads Voices without you, Hampton Roads. We want to hear from you all throughout the show. If you have a question, comment, or concern, or you just want to put your 2 cents in it, we welcome that. I was about to say hi 91. 823-9110, 823-9110 is the number, or get in where you fit in on Twitter and Facebook using the hashtag HRV. Okay, so tonight's topic, life after sports. So you've been playing basketball your whole life. Your dad put a basketball in your hand when you were 4 years old. You've been training. You played ball middle school. You played ball high school. You was a star athlete. You went to college, was killing it in college, and then you tore your ACL. Okay, and you might have majored in business management because you know, hey, that's pretty broad. I can do something with that. But you find yourself your senior year. You had plans of going to the league, and now what to do now? Like, you've been a ball player your whole life. You have to re-find yourself and all that. Or you probably even made it to the league. You was playing professionally, and then now it's over and you're done at or retired at 30 something like Kobe, and you really have to start your life all over again. That's what this show is all about. Special guest experts today. I have Reginald Land. He's the founder of Option 2 Incorporated. And I also have Antoine Perry here. He is a former, a Spartan always, because once you're a Spartan, you're always a Spartan. But he's a former NSU assistant men's basketball coach, and also a former NSU men's basketball point guard from 2006 till 2010. And now he's the host and executive producer of a sports podcast entitled The Most Extraordinary Ordinary Podcast. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, what's up? What's going on?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to need y'all to be a little bit more lively.
What's going on?
We're going to help people today. We're going to have a good time. So just introduce yourself. If you can tell me a little bit about what you do and your experience with life after sports. You want to start, Antoine?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
Like she said, I played ball here, 06 through 10. I was a point guard. I played for Dwight Freeman. He left after my freshman year, and I played for Anthony Evans, who's at Florida International right now. Rob Jones, who's the head coach now, was the assistant when I was here, probably one of the coaches I took a liking to the most. In return, long story short, fast forward down the road, I did 2 years as a grad assistant at Virginia Tech, and he reached out to me at the end of my assistantship and asked if I wanted to work here as a director of operations or whatever, pretty much assistant coach, the fourth assistant, and handling day-to-day business. During that time, which was last year, I had the idea of starting a podcast, a sports podcast, and it's interview-based, and kind of goes in line with the things we're talking about, but the only difference is I'm interviewing people and I'm asking them the same thing that, like you said, have experienced it and been through things. Okay, so you do interview some really well-known and talented people in the sports arena. If you could just throw out some names, who have you had on your podcast? Well, locally, I've had E.J. Manuel, Khilo Quinn, he's a Spartan, now New York Knick. Kevin Ollie, UConn men's basketball. He was a national champion coach, played in the NBA for 13 years. Leonard Hamilton, coach at Florida State. Tony Bennett, coach at UVA. And many more.
Yes, doing the daggone thing on that podcast. Reginald Land, founder of Option 2 Incorporated. You do a whole lot of other things, but having to do with life after sports. You actually get them ready for life after sports. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do, sir?
Yes, Queen. How you doing today?
I'm doing well.
That's good. How you doing, kings and queens? My name is Reginald Land, and I'm the founder of Option 2 Inc., and we prepare student athletes for life after sports. Pretty much my story started in high school where I was academically ineligible, so I didn't get to play in college like I wanted to. I was academically ineligible my junior year, and that forced me to look into other things outside of sports. I went through a depression phase, and then I bounced back and I found my Option 2, and that's why I created my organization called Option 2.
Word.
Yep.
Word. So what exactly does Option 2 do?
I'm glad you asked. So we have a 7-week program that goes over financial literacy, public speaking, business etiquette, dining etiquette, women etiquette, because I personally believe if you can't interact with a woman on a personal level,
Wow, that's dope.
you definitely can't interact with her on a professional level.
Okay.
So,
you need to be beyond sports.
That's one part of option 2. We also have a student athlete leadership academy coming up next summer. That's only for athletes. We're going to be teaching them different leadership skills. And then we do like personal workshops and man-to-man, which is a one-on-one mentorship program as well.
That's dope. All right. So, special guest experts here. We have them right here. And we have you. We want to hear from you. 823-9110, 823-9110. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to dive into this conversation all about life after sports. Make sure you keep it locked right here. It's Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. I forgot the name of the show. Hampton Roads Voices. It happens. It's a brain fart. Hampton Roads Voices is live right now. It's called Life After Sports. Okay. I think that is so very important because, sports can really take a big chunk of your life. You have to really dedicate yourself to your sport, to your craft, to really be the best that you can be. But once it's over, I mean, you really can't play ball for the rest of your life, or you can't play tennis or soccer or whatever that you do having to do with sports. You can't do that for the rest of your life. So what are you going to do after it's all said and done? All right. So rather you are coming out of collegiate sports or you're coming out of a professional career, we are here to help you. I have special guest experts here. Antoine Perry, he's the former NSU assistant men's basketball coach, a former NSU point guard, and also a host and executive producer of a sports podcast, The Most Extraordinary Ordinary Podcast. And I also have Reginald Land here. He's the founder of his very own nonprofit, Option 2 Incorporated. Okay, so I want to hear from you, 823-9110, 823-9110. I want you to put your 2 cents in, but I'm going to, just throw out a question out there to get you thinking and to hopefully get you calling. We need you on these phone lines, all right? So if you are currently... if you have already went through that transition, you came out of playing college ball or a college sport. After that career, after your sports career, what's something that took you for a surprise? What's something that happened that you didn't really expect to happen, or something that didn't happen that kind of took you for a surprise? 823-9110, 823-9110, or hashtag HRV on Twitter and Facebook. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into this conversation, fellas. So, for the athlete that is about to transition, what can they expect right away? I know it's a whole lot of things that are going to happen, but right away, right when it's over, what can they expect to happen?
I think that it's 2 different levels to that question. You have college athletes and you have pro athletes. Myself, I wasn't a pro athlete. I transitioned out of college. So I'll speak on that first. In college, if you've made it to be a Division I athlete, Division II even, you're pretty good. You have been pretty good for most of your, adolescent years and high school years. So I think a lot of people believe that people do everything for you. That's not true. But in a sense, a lot of things have been made easy for you because of your ability. And that's, whether it's from your parents, from people that have an effect on your career, people that take on a responsibility as, father figures, mother figures, whoever. And I think that sometimes you get into like a carousel of, let me get a handout here. Let me, ask this person to do this, and you kind of lose a sense of responsibility, so that when you transition out and you get into the real world, it hits you in, ways that you weren't aware of, because you never had to run across campus and take care of something like an adult. You never had to go take your own car and get this done and get this, that, and the third done. Somebody would do it for you because of your ability, and because you would, the time, you might not have the time, and, they looking at you as, okay, he's got his head on straight. He's striving to do something. Let me make his life easier, because of the commitment it takes to be a good, athlete, whether it's professional, collegiately. And I think that when you get into the real world, like I said, life just hits you. And I know it hit me. And, it's kind of, it is things, it's ways you can plan for it, but a lot of people, you're moving so fast in your career, you don't take time out to do that.
Yeah. Reginald?
Yeah, most definitely. I agree with everything you were saying. But like I said, I stopped playing in high school. So for me, it was that depression phase right after high school was over. My last game, I remember it like it was yesterday. We lost by 3 points to Oscar Smith, our rival from the other side.
What's up, Oscar Smith?
No. What's up, Oscar Smith? what's up, Salem Sun Devils? But on a serious note, it was just a short period of time where I was just like, wow, all my friends, they're playing ball, or they're playing, they're playing football, or they're playing basketball, and I have to figure out what's next. So for me, I had to take time to realize that I was not playing anymore, and I had to figure out, who I wanted to become, because I lost my identity as a football player or as an athlete. Your family come to all your games. That's not happening anymore. All your friends know you for playing sports. That's not happening anymore. And luckily, I fell in love with business. My parents are both business owners, and I fell in love with the thought of being an entrepreneur. So I started to work towards making that happen. And I also had a very good support system. Great mother, great father, great family. A lot of us, as in the African American community, we don't even have that father that's going to push you and say, hey, my dad, as soon as he found out I couldn't play football my junior year, he was like, well, you're not about to come home and just sit down on the couch and watch TV and eat food. You're going to have to figure out something to do. So I ended up joining a community service group and learning more about community service and networking. And I used that to end up getting my first internship with A-Radix and Associates. And, fast forward 7 internships later, I interned with Disney. I got a chance to work with Apple. I almost had the White House internship.
Oh, wow.
So it was just like, but that's because I lost football. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing, but you have to learn how to embrace that sad moment and turn that negative into a positive.
So you would say for them, something that they can expect right off the bat is emotion, maybe.
Oh, most definitely.
Sadness.
Sadness. Let me tell you something. I was crying on that field. Like, this is my last game. Like, this is it. And we lost too. And that was the year we were supposed to go to the championship. But shout out to my boy Bucky. He made it to the NFL. I'm happy for him. And a lot of my other teammates, they're doing good things with themselves. And then some of them aren't doing good things, So it was just crazy. But you're definitely going to be sad, slightly depressed.
Okay. So we already know, emotional withdrawals is pretty prevalent. Is physical withdrawals, how prevalent is that when you get done? You hang up your jersey. Physical withdrawals, is that a real thing after sports?
I don't know, a physical withdrawal. You might be relieved that, you don't have to. I know for me, I was very glad that I didn't have to do the amount of, running and, strength and conditioning and all that stuff. But a lot of times athletes, they struggle to find ways to keep themselves up the same way because, you're not training for something. There's no goal. You just day-to-day train, and a lot of times we don't do that, or it's boring, like if you can't play basketball no more, or if you're not playing at a consistent level that you were before, things get hard. And I speak to the mental part. I think that it all depends on what you fed off of as an athlete, or how you went out, whether it was on your own terms or whether, it ended short for some other reason, like you said, an injury, or like me, I just graduated. So I wasn't too sad. I didn't want to play professionally. I wanted to do other things. I wanted to try something different in life.
Gotcha.
But you got some people who they feed off of what being an athlete does for them, whether, it's emotionally, socially, whatever the case may be. And so when it's over, it's almost like a reality check. It's, man, I'm not the same person no more. I don't matter as much anymore.
Right.
And if that's what you were looking for or what you wanted out of sports, then you're going to be severely let down. You know what I'm saying? And socially, you're going to be let down. And it's just, it's going to do something to your ego, for men at least. And I just think that it just all depends on what you were looking for in sports.
Which makes sense because, the sports guys, the athletes in school, collegiately, especially high school, you're seen as the man. He's the man, He's so cute with his basketball jersey on. So, yeah, Antoine, that is a point. Like, once that's over, you're not, quote, unquote, the man anymore in your mind, Right. Physical withdrawals, Reginald, is that a thing?
Physical withdrawals as far as working out and being in shape. We can just, stress that a little bit. It's different, when you in a sport, you have to work out. So, for sure, you have 2 days or whatever where there's a workout plan and you have to work out. And even in high school, the guys that were the starters were the ones that were in, weight training and lifting weights. And then, after sports is over, it's kind of like, okay, you try to, you might go for a jog or two to get your mind off the sport. But then as years go on, that motivation isn't there. So it's a discipline check. And you think you're so disciplined from playing sports, but you really learn, what kind of man you are and if you can really do anything you put your mind to. And I face that every day. I'm like,
still,
do I want to go to the office or do I want to go to the gym?
Wow. Okay.
The office is how you provide for your family. The gym, but then, I'm learning like my circle is different and I have a lot more positive circle now. I listen to a wealth management group podcast by Tony Stevenson, and they talk about not only wealth being in your pocket, but wealth, in your stomach and your figure, and making sure that you're healthy enough to maintain the wealth that you're looking to gain. And that's been the biggest thing for me. So I'm trying to eat more salads. My girlfriend's on me, eat more salads.
Health is wealth.
Health is definitely wealth.
Yes. All right. We want to hear from you, Hampton Roads, 823-9110, 823-9110, Life After Sports. What's something that happened after you got done playing ball, after football, after basketball, preferably college level, professional level, but high school is cool too. Give us a call. Let us know, how did you feel right after that? What happened, okay, that kind of took you by surprise? We're going to go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue the conversation about life after sports on Hot 91. Yes, Hot 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. Hampton Roads Voices is live right now, and we are in the middle of a conversation about life after sports, okay? What to do, where am I to go? I am lost because I no longer play football or I no longer play basketball. And we are here to really get you back on the road of finding yourself, identifying yourself, if you will. And having a life after sports. I have special guest experts on with me, Reginald Land. He's the founder of Option 2 Incorporated. That is a nonprofit all about helping athletes prepare for life after sports. And also Antoine Perry here. He's a former NSU assistant men's basketball coach and right now a host and executive producer of a sports podcast entitled The Most Extraordinary Ordinary Podcast. And we also have you. Yes, 823-9110, 823-9110. If you are an athlete right now or was an athlete, and you know what, you transitioned yourself or you're in the middle of transitioning, I want to hear your testimony, okay? You are safe here. It's a safe platform. Call in and let me know how you're doing through this transformation or this transition, or how did you do, okay? 823-9110, 823-9110. We do have 2 phone calls on the line, so we're going to go ahead and go to the phone calls. Hi, 91, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Larry Wilson.
Hey, Larry.
What's going on?
Nothing much. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
What's your question, comment, or concern?
Yeah, big shout out to my brother, the King, Reginald Land.
Okay.
You know who it is, but I had to chime in and call. But you said the question was, how is life after transitioning from being an athlete into the real world?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say the only thing is, just trying to use all the tools, utilize everything and all the tools that you've learned and experienced, and trying to better yourself once you go after the life of being an athlete. Because, it's only a certain percentage that certain people make it to the big leagues and go D1 and to any college and everything. So I think being an athlete afterwards, not being an athlete afterwards, but just preparing for life afterwards is just, it's very critical. Kids got to really think about that these days.
Right. Anybody else want to chime in?
Nah, I think what he said, though. What's going on? What's going on, Bo?
What's good, King? What's going on? Yeah.
Everything good, man. Yeah, you're right on point. Yeah, it's definitely important to prepare for life after sports, man. I thank you for all you do and helping Option 2, and I look forward to connecting on some of the things we want to do moving forward.
No question.
Thanks for calling.
Shout out to NSU Behold the Green and Gold.
Absolutely.
The whole
yes.
the Green and Gold.
Behold.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Thank you, Larry.
No problem.
We're going to continue the calls.
Hey,
Hi, 91. You're
Hey,
live.
how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, hey, how's it going?
You're live on the air.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my name is Alexander Hinton. I'm calling in support of Reginald Land and Option 2.
Okay.
I was actually an athlete as well when I was in high school. And I guess I would speak about my transition. And my transition was actually a little hectic. I got kicked out of my mom's house after I got kicked off the football team. And I had actually moved to a whole other state to finish high school. And then from there, I realized I wanted to go to college and different things of that nature, besides, like, you know, trying to get a scholarship for football or things of that nature. So I actually ended up going to college, and I met Reginald, and I did a lot of things at NSU as well on their campus. And I would say for those athletes that think their only route is getting a scholarship, you have a mind beyond your abilities to perform on a field. So I want you guys to think about using your mind and those abilities outside of just an athletic ability. So that's all I have to say. And keep doing your thing, Reginald.
Can I ask you a question about your experience through Option 2? So what did you go through, and what's something that really stuck out that helped you in your transition?
Well, I never really went through his program. I was just a colleague that has went to some of his orientations about Option 2, and I guess the things that he speaks about were kind of similar to my situation, except I didn't have any guidance. So therefore, what he spoke, kind of resembled what I went through. So I guess that's what I've experienced through his program.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
No problem.
All righty. We're going to keep the calls going. Hi, 91. You're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, this is Tony Stevenson. How you doing?
Hey, Tony.
Hey,
Tony.
Hey, man, I just got a comment, man. I really want to just shout y'all out, man. For real. I hope as many people as possible and throughout the Hampton tune in, man. I'm glad y'all got this together, because it's super important for our community to understand what it's like to do with your life after sports, because we're so honed on that's all we can do in life, and we are so much bigger and better than that. So I just want to shout out to y'all for putting this together. The content is amazing. I feel like y'all going to touch a lot of people with this. So I just wanted to call in and make a comment and salute to y'all.
Appreciate you, Tony.
Appreciate that, brother.
Thanks, bro.
All righty. We're going to keep the calls coming, because it is really all about you. And then we're going to hop right back into it about really what you can expect through your transition. Hi, 91. You're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi. My question is Option 2 going to go national or possibly international? Because I heard a lot of good things about the program, and I wanted to know, would it be available in other states as well?
Can you repeat the question? And also, did you say your name was Anthony?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you sound like somebody else I know very, very well. But could you repeat your question one more time, sir?
Is Option 2 looking to go national or possibly international? Again, I've heard a lot of good things about the program, and I want you to know if it be available in other states.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you for your question. I appreciate you calling, Anthony. Yeah, we definitely want to go national and international, but we want to make sure we're taking care of our local community first. I think that a lot of cities in the nation, they already have some resources. So I want to make sure that I take care of the 757 area. But I've traveled abroad to Asunción, Paraguay, earlier this year in February. One of the things I noticed was a lot of kids playing soccer, and we were able to buy some of the kids soccer balls and things like that. But a lot of them have goals to play for that Olympic team for their country. And if they don't get the opportunity, a lot of them end up doing, the family business, rather as, getting fish for the market and different things like that. In developing countries, it's even worse than the conditions here locally in the Hampton Roads and other, projects and hoods of America. So I would definitely like to go international, because anyone that wanted to play a sport but can't play that sport professionally, this program is for them.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment,
appreciate
Anthony.
that, brother, and keep doing what you're doing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you continue to be the great man that you are.
Thank you.
So I want to continue to hear from the past athletes. I want to hear your experiences. 823-9110, 823-9110. All right, fellas. So we kind of tapped on sadness. We can expect that emotion to be normal after you transition out or while you're transitioning. But let's go a little bit deeper. What kind of emotions can one expect that may not feel normal while they're going through it, but it's actually pretty normal after you stop playing the sport that you've been playing for so long?
I mean, I think that you feel a certain, like, somewhat helplessness. You don't know how to navigate your land because it's not what you're used to. As an athlete, you pretty much know what to expect moving forward year by year by year by year. No matter how old you get or how far you go within your sport, you know what to look forward to and what to prepare yourself for. Once you get out of athletics and into the real world, you kind of don't know what to expect. You have to depend on people more so than your own ability and your own body.
Yep.
You have to network. You have to open your mouth. You have to, like I said, depend on people is the main thing. And a lot of people aren't used to that because you earn what you get or you get what you earn in sports. And I just think there's a feeling of helplessness and, just know where to turn to. You don't know exactly what to do. And that's the main thing.
Helplessness.
Yeah. And that could lead to a lot of failures, or a lot of shortcomings, or a lot of wasted time. And I think that's the main thing.
That's deep.
Yeah.
It's definitely helplessness. We spoke a little bit about this earlier when we were off the air, but just seeing guys that were greats in this area as far as, holding the all-time rushing record or holding, this record, that record, and then you see them and they're at, the corner store or they're at, the club, and they just have a different look in their eye. And, you spoke about the ego. Once you lose your ego, a lot of us are helpless because we have the identity of an athlete. You're that guy, everyone's expecting you to make it, and then you don't make it.
Right.
So, I don't know if you hear the quote all the time, when you make it, don't forget about me, and then it's like, well, if I don't make it, don't forget about me. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And, it's tough for a lot of guys. A lot of guys just don't know what's next. They don't have an option too. And you can tell because 5 years from when they were in their prime, they haven't, grew any, as far as like, goals and just their position in life. So helpless is the perfect word to describe it.
And to speak to that point, I was reading a book. I think it was Mike Tyson's autobiography, and a lot of people don't know because Mike Tyson was so barbaric and brutal that he was a historian and he studied his game, his craft well. And so he knew all the heavyweights that came before him and all the important boxers that mattered before him. So he said that when he used to ride around Vegas and he was at the pinnacle of his career, he used to run into certain heavyweight champions that were valet parking cars in Vegas at different casinos. And he said he'd give them $5,000 or whatever the case may be. And he'd be like, they'd be really appreciative because nobody else noticed them, and he noticed them because of him studying. But to go from being a heavyweight champion of the world or even close, and to then have to park cars, valet, it shows you that when you're in the sport, nobody's different. It's all on your foundation, and if you don't prepare and if you're unaware of what to expect, man, you could drop off. You have a major drop off, and dropping off from being a D1 athlete to, being a, normal working citizen, that's different than being heavyweight champion of the world, going to park cars, which is a job at the end of the day, but it's so far from where you were, and you don't have to drop that far, in life, in nothing, if you're prepared.
Right.
And
that's good. That's a good point.
And I'm going in and I'm looking at like the financial side. That's why we talk a lot about financial literacy. A lot of it is based on them not being able to know how to maintain the check and invest it and budget it and invest in stocks or invest in real estate or we get so caught up in the gold chains and the diamonds and a Lamborghini, well not a Lamborghini but BMWs, right, living for the moment, living that type of lifestyle that they really can't afford. And that's why I work with my guys on that. But they parking valet cars, not because they want to, because they don't have that
'Cause they
check that
have
they
to.
once had. They have to do
Right.
it.
Right.
You know?
And
it's
that's why
sad.
you see some NFL players or NBA players that, stop playing and then they don't have anything to show for it. How you have $1 million contract or a $100,000 something contract and you're not saving none of that. All of that is gone. You bankrupt.
It's
Crazy.
way more than that. Way more than $1 million.
So
Some of those guys.
when we return, we're going to get into how to prepare. Okay, so we're telling you to prepare. How can I do that, Khilo? How can I do that, Reginald? How can I do that, Twan? We're going to let you know coming up in a bit. Do not forget, all of my Spartans, we are in the middle of the Battle of the States, okay? That is the ultimate alumni giving challenge between Norfolk State University and Virginia State University. And whoever wins that competition can win bragging rights. It is going down. We are still taking all of your gifts up until the very last moment, which is the halftime of the Labor Day Classic football game. Okay, so not only will we win bragging rights, but you will be benefiting the current Spartans here, the current students, undergrad students, graduate students here who are maybe on financial aid or something like that, and your gift can really help them finish their education without going deeper into debt. So go ahead and log on to nsu.edu/give now. You have to click on designate WNSB because I know you love us. But yes, your contribution will be coming back to Norfolk State. All right. WNSB is where you need to designate to. Make sure you keep it locked right here because when we get back, diving more into this conversation, give us a call, 823-9110, 823-9110. We want to hear your 2 cents. It is Hampton Roads Voices, Life After Sports on Hot 91. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not those of Norfolk State University or WNSB FM. Thank you for listening. That's right. Thank you for listening to Hampton Roads Voices live right now on Hot 91. Your choice for hip hop and R&B soul. Yes, do not forget that we do continue to play your favorite music all throughout this here show. Okay, while we are trying to get your life together and offer some solutions to everyday problems that impact our community, like this one, Life After Sports. So many talented sports people that are in this area, that has come from this area, that are on their way out of this area on a more professional level of playing sports, and what to do after you're done, though. It's really never too early to really begin planning. We have special guest experts here. Antoine Perry, former NSU assistant men's basketball coach and current host and executive producer of a sports podcast entitled The Most Extraordinary Ordinary Podcast. And I also have Reginald Land here, the founder of Option 2 Incorporated, a nonprofit all about helping those transitioning from sports to, I guess, civilian life, if you will. Okay. And about you, Hampton Roads, 823-9110, 823-9110. I want to hear from you. If you are maybe a girlfriend or a wife or a mother or an aunt of a young man who was really in sports and you witnessed him transition through and you have a testimony, I want to hear from you, okay? Or you're a father of somebody and you want to tell your son's story. Let me hear from you. 823-9110, 823-9110. We're going to get into the conversation in a bit, but first let's go to the phone lines. Hi, 91, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
This is Francesca.
Hey, Francesca.
Hi, I just wanted to, give a shout out to Option 2 Inc. And I wanted to also touch up on what some guy earlier said, Anthony Andrew.
Okay.
He was saying something about Option 2 being global. I would love to see that happen.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for calling in.
I just want to also shout out to Reginald. Reginald, he's a really good guy, really smart, really ambitious. And I just want to shout out to all the athletes that, that went wrong, went left. And I would like for everybody, every athlete, whether it's wrong, whether they're ambitious or not, to aggressively expect positive things.
Aggressively expect positive things. I'm with it, Francesca.
That's deep.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Thank you for calling in.
I want to be like him when I grow up.
Okay. He got everybody calling in. I want to hear from somebody who does not know Reginald. Anybody who does not know Reginald and you want to call in and share your testimony about life after sports. I'm going to throw this question out there. What do you know now that you wish that you knew while you were playing or while you were transitioning earlier in the process, that could have probably helped you a little bit earlier in the process as an athlete transitioning out. 823-9110, 823-9110. Now, fellas, an article that I was reading as I was preparing for this show entitled, or on a website entitled The Final Whistle, warns newly retired and transitioning athletes that the transition is expensive, like financially expensive. Why would that be?
I could speak to that. If you're making millions of dollars,
okay,
you could think about the amount of bills you're accumulating. You got a car payment that's $1,900.
Gotcha.
You got a mortgage that's 10 plus. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where you live, taking care of people, different things. And once you transition out of it, you're backpedaling in a sense. You're trying to eliminate some of those bills, and you're doing what you got to do to eliminate those bills. You're cutting things off, and just you're not bringing that money in. Mm-hmm. So that money still has to go out for a certain amount of time until you can salvage it all, Yeah. And I think that's why they say it's expensive. Other than that, I couldn't see another reason why. But the money, you're putting out versus what you're bringing in.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You want to add, Reginald?
He spoke on everything.
Okay.
I mean, the expenses that you accumulate from being in the league and living that lifestyle that we discussed, is expensive to move forward without that same income coming in, So I definitely, I couldn't agree more.
Okay. All right. Ooh. All right. So we've been talking all show long about planning. Plan. But what exactly does good planning look like? What does good preparation look like from sports, from departing from sports?
Good preparation looks like participating in option 2. No, I'm joking around. But no, good preparation would be, understanding your talents outside of sports, and involving yourself with people that could possibly put you in the right position once sports is over. You have to always go into the season knowing that the next play or the next game could be your last game. When people tear their ACL, they didn't say like, oh, okay, today I'm gonna tear my ACL, so okay, I have that backup. Right. Oh yeah, today is the day I'm gonna get injured.
Yeah.
So no, they don't have that in place. But and I'm not saying you should play every game like scared to get injured or anything like that. But you should move forward knowing that it's going to come to an end eventually. It could be tomorrow. It could be at the end of college. Definitely, if you make it to the NFL, you can't play football forever. That's what people don't realize. Making it to the NFL doesn't mean that you made it for real, because you can be in your rookie season and get injured. I was just reading an article as well about a guy. He ended up getting hurt during his rookie season, and he had a difficult time bouncing back. So it's getting a resume together. It's
right.
Getting mentors. It's getting people and resources that's going to put you in a place to be successful if football doesn't work out.
I think that planning, it's not completely on the athlete. It's not solely the child's responsibility as they grow up. And if I could put some of the responsibility on the coaches, not just parents. A lot of coaches, they don't use kids. I'm not going to use that word. Some do, but they get kids for their talent, and they're only interested in what the kid can do for them.
Shake the table, Antoine. Shake the table. Yes.
I think that you have much more responsibility to a 13 or 14-year-old child to get them to understand what's out there for him and to open his world up, because you have him at such a critical age. Right. You got him as he's becoming a man, college included. These college coaches, at sometimes they don't teach kids how to be men. They run them, they prepare them, they strengthen them up. They do everything they can do for them to help themselves and to help them succeed as an athlete, which is not completely a bad thing, because that's the business we're in. However, you have to have some more responsibility to these kids. And an athlete that goes from team to team, coach to coach, sport to sport, he doesn't have time to realize what else is out there for him. And that's part of the problem, because that cycle continues year after year after year until you're done. And then it's too late. Because like we said, we're talking about planning, and planning starts well before the event takes place. So.
Okay. So go ahead, please.
I want to elaborate a little bit on what he just talked about. When these athletes are participating in sports, They don't have time to go to the leadership conferences,
right,
or to participate in FBLA, SCA, all these different business organizations or community service-based organizations. And again, my personal story, when I couldn't play football anymore, I had to find something different, and it wasn't necessarily the coaches. I love my coaches that coached me, but it wasn't necessarily the coaches that was providing that alternative resource.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It was the father figure I had at home, my father, and it was just kind of going through that situation where I lost football. But if I'd have still been participating in football, I don't think, I have confidence in myself, but I don't know if I would be in the position that I'm in now. And I'm not, filthy rich or anything like that. But as far as success,
you were fortunate enough, like you said, to have a father figure,
right?
Myself included.
Yeah.
But I could think of 10 of my friends that were athletes growing up that didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And so who is the man that has the most of the time?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's why I said coaches, and also, mothers, teachers. Teachers are so overworked that I don't put much responsibility. Yeah. So coaches, like I said, and, it's just different influences in your life as an athlete propels and, goes to different levels. Sometimes they're really talented, obviously, and people are looking for what they can take, what they can get, how they can gain, how they can help themselves from that man's talent instead of, telling them, hey, things that your program probably does. Hey, maybe you should look at this avenue, or maybe you should look at this financial resources,
right,
or maybe you should take advantage of whatever Norfolk State has to offer instead of going, it's not a bad thing, but instead of going to have fun all the time, because it's a lot to be had on campus, but, take a day and go do this and go speak to this person. And a lot of times nobody to tell them that.
I was talking to my friends the other day, and they're like, well, when did you really make your change? I said, when I realized partying couldn't go on my resume.
Come on.
When I realized having these kind of conversations about girls and all this kind of stuff, it doesn't
amount to nothing.
I can't go in the interview and say, hey, yeah, I've had relations with this amount of women, or hey, I've been to this amount of parties. I can drink this amount. They don't care. You know what I mean? So
it gets you nothing.
Right. Nothing at all. So, you're right on point, bro.
Awesome. We do have a couple phone calls. Hi, 81, you're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Antonio Bloom.
Hey, Antonio.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Go ahead. What's your question, comment, or concern?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I graduated from Norfolk State University.
Hey, behold.
The green and gold.
Green and gold.
Yes.
And I played baseball there under Marty Miller.
Awesome.
And I got drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in 1991.
Wow.
Yeah. My career was not stopped by injury or anything like that. I was my worst enemy at the time because I was so used to being the man. All CIAA pitcher of the year and everything. And then I got there and I started playing head games with myself like, am I good enough? And so I actually stopped playing my third year because of fear of failure.
Right.
And so what I did my third year, I actually mailed that ticket back to report to spring training in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I typed them a letter, because back then, 1991, I was a typewriter, And I thanked them for the opportunity, for drafting me and everything. And I went back to college and, got my degree and everything in health and physical education. And I've touched a lot of lives, Teacher of the Year awards and everything.
Oh, wow.
But every now and then, it comes across my mind, like, what would have happened had I hung in there?
Of course.
But it's to the point now where, I do private lessons. And this, option 2, incorporated is great. I'm telling you, I caught like the first part of the call up to this point. I actually went and got some Chinese food. I'm like, I hope they're still online, and just to share, my story. And to this day, if a kid is struggling with fear, I can pick it up very, very quickly. I don't care how much they're trying to mask it, because talent only takes you so far, that's that mental thing. And now, the next step, because I've been teaching for 16 years. And, but I want to go on the entrepreneur side.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
And it's one thing it's different from actually being able to coach something and you have a skill set in running a business.
Mm.
So each year, you know, I'm like, okay, when the summer, break comes, it's like, okay, I got a week left before I go back to school, you know, and I'm teaching again. And I'm still touching lives and everything, but I really have a passion for owning my own business and having my own baseball school. So having resources to lead you on that second phase of your life and everything after sports, I think is major.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I'm glad it's coming from the horse's mouth. I mean, you were good enough to be drafted by, you know, the major baseball league. So that's dope.
If you don't mind me asking you, what's holding you back from starting your baseball school? You know you can still do that.
Yeah. Part of being burnt, you know, I had left teaching in 2007. And I went in business with a friend, you know, in the church. And this business was doing, a whole lot of things. I found out later that one of them was doing $158,000 per month. You know,
wow.
But I was only getting about $2,000. So to make a long story short, you know, I found out I was being conned. I had to basically go back into teaching, but I was depressed like maybe 2 years. You know, just because when I left teaching the first time, I had burnt a ship and a sail. I just knew I wasn't coming back, you know. So I had to get over that failure, you know. It really jeopardized the finances of my home, taking that jump, you know. But it wasn't that the business didn't work. It was the fact that, you know, I had gone into someone who was taking advantage,
right,
you know, of me.
Right.
So there are some reservations on, you know, what if it doesn't work, if I do it again, you know. But I definitely want to take it to a bigger level other than just meeting parents at fields and doing private and group lessons and having my own facility and creating a legacy.
Right. Well, again, you know, I appreciate you for calling. And this is Reginald, and I'm founder of Option 2. So thank you for your comments on Option 2. And if you ever need somebody to brainstorm with, I would love to be that person, you know, because sometimes we just need somebody to talk to about the ideas in order for them to come to fruition. So, you know, maybe.
You want to throw your phone number and your email out there?
Right. Well, not my phone number.
Okay.
But I'll give you the email, my phone number through email.
Or the website.
Right. Well, my personal website is reginaldfland.com. So Reginald, my first name, F as in Franklin, and land, reginaldfland.com. And I have a contact me page. If you fill out that, and I'll just shoot you my phone number. I'm not Hollywood or anything. I just, you know, don't want to put my phone number out there.
Of course.
You know, I have a crazy girlfriend. No, I'm just playing. She's not crazy. But yeah, I would love to be like a brainstorming partner.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much for calling.
Right. Thank you for sharing your story. I think that's pretty awesome, to say the least.
My pleasure.
All righty. Have a good one, Mr. Antonio.
You too.
Got one more call. Hi, 91. You're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Michelle Holloman.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Go ahead and share your yes, please.
I was calling just to say I really am delighted to hear that we have this option too now, and I wish I would have had that when my sons were coming up in high school. And I had one son, he played football for high school, and he was doing great, and then all of a sudden he didn't get the position that he wanted, or the coach didn't feel like he should play that position, and he just lost all momentum in playing. And he went on to go to college and everything, but I'm a single mom, and I couldn't get I didn't know what to do, how to talk to him,
Wow.
I didn't, have that. But if he had that option too in place at that time, I think that, it wouldn't have took him so long to adapt. But now he's doing great. He's about to graduate from Old Dominion. Okay. And I just applaud, what this young man is doing. I think we need more people out there that can reach to these guys to let them know that there is another option than just sports.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Queen.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for everything you have done.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Let's keep these calls coming in. 823-9110, 823-9110. I want to hear about your testimony as you are transitioning through, your departure from sports. How are you feeling? What are some things that you're seeing? Or if you already transitioned, like my man Antonio, got drafted into the Major Baseball League and, he decided against it, and now he's doing something completely different. Departure from sports is not always an end-all, be-all. There are other things that you can do, but you first have to plan. We're going to go deeper into planning when we return. Don't forget that we are live on, well, not live, but we are on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, so if you have to get out the car or, you missed some of it, you can log on to YouTube, type in Hampton Roads Voices, and this episode should be on by next week, okay? But the conversation is continuing, so make sure you keep it locked right here. It's Hampton Roads Voices, Life After Sports on Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. You are listening to Hampton Roads Voices. Yes, we are your choice for hip-hop and R&B soul. That's what I already said about Hot 81. I'm going to get myself together. Hampton Roads Voices. This episode is all about life after sports, okay? We are helping you get yourself together as you transition from being the star athlete, being an athlete all your life, and now you have to be a civilian, if you will, for lack of better terms. Be a civilian. Transition into regular life and not playing ball anymore. We have special guest experts on today. Antoine Perry, former NSU assistant men's basketball coach and host and executive producer of a sports podcast entitled The Most Extraordinary Ordinary Podcast. And we have Reginald Land, founder of Option 2 Incorporated, a nonprofit dedicated to helping athletes transition into life after sports, okay, a successful life. And we have you, 823-9110, 823-9110. I want to hear from you. How did you transition? Tell me about your transition. What's one thing, if you can give to the next man, what's that one piece of advice? Call me, let me know, 823-9110. So we were talking about planning and what that would look like before we got off air. But I want to know, how early really should that begin? Is it too early to begin in middle school, or even elementary school? What is too early, and what really is like good timing to start preparing for that?
I don't think it's ever too early. I think that it starts, like he said, it's with the coaches, the middle school coaches, but even the little league coaches, the parents in the household, when they coming up. And you ask them, hey, what do you want to be? I can guarantee most kids that I see, I get excited. I'm like, what you want to be when you grow up? A football player.
Right.
Or a basketball player. And if not that, a rapper.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then as they get older, if they can't play sports, they want to do the military. And it's just like instilling in them that you can do so much more than just that. That's pretty much it. So it's never too early.
So my question is, who is supposed to instill that in them?
So as far as like the what I was speaking about knowing that they so the parents, I think it starts in the household. Some people don't have that support in the household. Like I said, I had a great mom, I had a great father. Everyone doesn't have that. I also have a great family. But when they get to practice and when they're in school, it should be the coaches. Because
right.
The coaches are the parent, they're like a parent away from home. But I think it should start with the parents, and if they're involved in any type of team, it should be the coach.
Yeah, and that's the same thing I said in the last segment. But I also think it's a culture-wide thing, man. And I'm not blaming anybody, but we have to make planning, we have to make preparation, we have to make open-mindedness a thing in our culture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when a kid plays basketball and he comes home, what's the first question he gonna get asked from his friends, family, peers? How many points you scored?
How'd you do? Right.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's all we,
Right.
Are talking about. Granted, I'm not trying to generalize everybody, but culture-wise, we need to make doing other things, cool. Mm-hmm. And I think that, kids would show more initiation to be open, and to invest in their, I guess, their knowledge of other things other than their sport.
Right. It's positive, positive peer pressure. It should be a tactic as well. Like I know that a lot of the younger guys we talk to and we work with, I'm 22. A lot of them are 17, 16, 17, 18. the ones that we work with in high school. So it's like that big brother aspect. Now, I don't always come in dressed up. Some days I come in, I might have a hoodie, some joggers, and, some sneakers on. But it's good for them to see that because it lets them know, like, okay, he dressed like me, he talked like me, he listened to the same kind of music as me, and he's doing something different, And so I definitely agree.
And that's one of the reasons that I got into coaching was to basically be a young person around young people, especially college. So, 26 years old, senior might be 22 or 21 years old. So they're not that far from my age, and they know that I played the game, so they respect my knowledge or my, in that aspect, as well as, like you said, they see how I dress, see what I listen to. So they say, hey, he's just like me in a sense. So what he says makes sense. And I just always come from a standpoint of, I'm going to just tell you what I wish somebody would have told me when I was 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And I think that's the conversation we need to have, and the type of content we need to push back to athletes. And we wouldn't have those stories of people falling from grace or, you know what I'm saying, hitting rock bottom just to learn what's going on,
Right. It's sort of like when I first walked in here, I don't, this is our first time meeting, but it feels like I know you.
Right.
Because I know for sure we have traveled a similar a similar path because we're both young black men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even though I don't know you, it's just like automatically I'm going to respect certain things that you say.
Right.
And I'm going to pay attention to certain things that you say because I know I can most likely relate. And it's the same way with the younger guys in high school.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Do you think that more than one plan should be in place? Like, you get, while you're going through college and you're playing through sports, and you find your major, okay, I'm going to do accounting. So after, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go ahead and do accounting. Should there be another plan in place? In your opinion?
Most definitely.
Yeah, because you could have a change of heart. I know a lot of people. My sister, for example, she did criminal justice and had, I guess, aspirations of being in that field and wanted to be a teacher after that. So you don't always know what you're going to do, but I think making everything available to you. I don't know too many people that go in with a complete plan of this is what I'm going to do after it. It's a very small percentage. And one in particular, not to be long-winded, but a guy interviewed named Myron Rowe. I don't know if you remember him. He played at Florida State, and he was a Rhodes Scholar. He was supposed to be a first-round draft pick, but instead he decided to go to the other side of the water to England to study.
I think I did hear about him.
Finish?
And it kind of,
Finish? What else did he do?
And it kind of, he's a neurosurgeon now, but it cost him, he ended up getting drafted like the 6th round. And, it's the same player. He just took a year off to go study.
Right.
It kind of cost him his draft.
I've heard of him.
However, he went to the Princeton School in New Jersey. And he said he chose Florida State because he wanted to be a Rhodes Scholar, and he knew that they would help him the most. They had 2 other people that had done that. Tallahassee is the capital of Florida. And he said, so I know that if later, after my career is over in football, if any politicians have to get anything done, anybody important has to come through Florida. He knew all this going in. Very rarely do you see that, but he had a plan. And you see where he is now. He's doing his residency at Massachusetts General Hospital.
Wow.
He's pretty much a neurosurgeon, but he had a plan. And he said the biggest thing was his parents came from the Bahamas, and they moved from the Bahamas when he was 3 years old. And they told him, look, we didn't come here for you to be average.
That foundation.
We came here for you to make noise. And I think that once that's established, the kid knows what to live up to. They feel a certain responsibility to be something, whatever that something is.
Right.
That's dope. That's dope.
Most definitely.
So putting it into action, once we have the plan, once we have the plans with an S, how can we put that into action? And before you guys answer, I want to remind everyone that this is Hampton Roads Voices, and I want to hear your voice, Hampton Roads, 823-9110, 823-9110. Share your story about how you transitioned out of sports. Or mamas, if you had some sons that was going through football or basketball, and, they made it to the league or they made it in college, and, the transition was kind of weird, call in, and we want to hear about that experience because you could be helping the next person. 823-9110. 823-9110. So putting this plan into action. What can be the actual steps? Give me some actual steps into putting a plan into action.
I always tell my guys that, it's cool to want to do something, but then you have to do the research on how to get it done.
Absolutely.
So I had a guy, he was like, I want to be he wanted to be a CIA agent, you know. And I said, okay, that's cool. If basketball don't work out, well, he said he's a football player at Salem High School, really good football player. He said, if football doesn't work out, I'm just going to be a CIA agent. And I said, that sounds really good. But now I need you to do the research on how to make that happen. You know, do you need to spend a certain amount of years in school? You know, what do you do? What do you need to do? So I think, you know, a part of putting the plan in action is doing the research, and then it's gathering the resources. So you did the research. Now you want to get you a mentor. You know, that's a mentor that's within that realm, and you want to build your network up around individuals that, you know, might have a similar, what is the word I'm looking
aspirations.
for? Yeah, similar aspirations. Just you know, they have a similar interest.
Okay.
And then I always recommend volunteering. Volunteering put me on. Volunteering got me in contact with people that I wouldn't have known otherwise. Like I said, like the Disney internship, that came from me volunteering with the Noble Teens. We did this event, this benefit concert, and this lady was there, and I gave her my card and told her, you know, I'm the volunteer coordinator for this event. I was in high school. She gives me a card. She says she's looking for interns. I interned for her. She liked me as an intern. She said, well, hey, I have contacts at Disney. They have a Disney college program. You're going into college. Do your first year of college, and then I'll let you use me as a, you know, as a reference, and I'll write you a letter of recommendation. I ended up doing the Disney college program.
Networking.
You know what I mean? Networking. When I went to Ireland, that was from me volunteering, and then they said, hey, well, we have a different opportunity coming up for you to go to Limerick, Ireland for a leadership conference. But it's all through volunteering. Volunteering is networking. And that's all part of the plan. So I didn't know I was crafting these different resources that was going to put me in a position to be able to create my own company. Because now my kids say, hey, I want to go into the medical field. And I can say, hey, let me call up so-and-so because they're the head of this. And they can, you know what I mean? So it's just about having those resources. First, doing the research, getting the resources, and then volunteering / networking.
And just to spin off what you said, getting a mentor is so important. Even in athletics, you can have a mentor.
Right.
Coaching, you can have a mentor. They will help you skip a lot of steps that are unnecessary and waste time. And like you said, if you're a mentor, which you are in a sense, they can make a call for you that somebody else can't do or that you can't do. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, like in the last thing, was volunteering, working for free. If you want to do anything worthwhile, you can probably have to do it for free at some point, whether it's for yourself or for a company, for anything. And a lot of times our culture and our people, we frown on working for free. Some of it due to circumstances. The other is, man, I want to get paid. You know what I'm saying? And man, sometimes a volunteer position will help you get something that a paycheck couldn't get you, you know? And you know, I think that's, like what you said, all good points. And
you said volunteering can get you something a paycheck can't get you.
Yeah.
That's 100%. I talk to college students. I'm a college student. I go to here at Norfolk State University, behold the green and gold.
All day.
The best university on the universe.
that's how I feel.
And I don't care what nobody say.
Okay.
But that's a whole nother topic. And I talk to college students all the time, and outside of the partying, a lot of them would, you know, they'd rather work at McDonald's instead of, you know, and, which is okay. If you have to work at McDonald's, that's fine. Everybody's path is different. But do that and also do something that's relevant to what you want to do. Because if you don't, you graduate. You know, I one of my good friends that I met during the Disney College program, before the Disney College program, she had like a 3.9 GPA.
Wow.
But no work experience. So she graduated, already had her degree from a nice university, and she was trying to get jobs, and she couldn't get a job.
Wow. So
you can do the Disney College program as alumni. I was a sophomore in college. She had graduated a year ago, which was like the borderline for the requirement.
Wow.
And she did that internship. Luckily, she got that internship. But her story was just like, I was just listening to her story like, wow, she thought that because she had good grades, she did everything her parents told her to do. Get good grades, go to school, get good grades, work a decent job. She didn't work a job, she had decent grades, couldn't get a job at all.
Now that leads into my next question. So these athletes that come out of playing in college or playing professionally, even though it may not be the league. They may be playing arena ball or something like that. They usually don't have work experience. They've never held a full-time job. So how can they become corporate career ready?
Or how can they become entrepreneurs? That's a conversation we got to start having. Yeah. Is that what you was about to say?
No, I was about to say back to my story of the guy Myron Rowe that I interviewed, and he said, "All right, I know that people love the way I play football.
Right.
So if I know that you know that, then I'm going to use that to get what I need to get. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't look at themselves as a business." He said, when I was in college, I knew, like I said, all those politicians coming through there. I'm the best safety in the country. You look at me as such. So that means that you're going to pass along my information or give me information that I need. And I think that people, athletes, they don't use the platform always for the right reasons. Right? Yeah. Use it, like I said, socially,
right?
And, for whatever other things.
Right.
And it's like, hey, all right, let me flip it over and get, move my way around and make those connections. Because like I said, you can't have a part-time job when you're a professional athlete or when you're a full-time athlete. But you can make connections and have an impression on people that when you're done, you can call and they'll always remember who you were as a person,
right?
And be willing to extend a helping hand for you if you were a decent, decent person too.
Yeah.
Right. That's 100%.
I like that.
Exactly what he said. I was going to really agree with what you were saying. I also like to just throw out there that they should consider being entrepreneurs.
I like where you was going with that too.
And it's because at the end of the day, working for somebody is cool, but to reach true financial freedom and be in a position where if you have kids, and this is one thing that's really important to me, and I'm gonna try not to get, I'm not trying to get emotional or anything, but it's just like, both of my parents are entrepreneurs. They're separate, but they're entrepreneurs, and they pride themselves on being at every game. You know what I mean? My mom and my dad,
being
separate, being supportive, being there. You know what I mean? I can't recall a game where I looked to the sideline and my parents weren't there, and if they weren't, they were running late and they were going to be there.
Right.
But and my mom isn't an entrepreneur anymore, but my dad still is, and a big thing for him was just that financial freedom. Financial freedom don't mean that you're filthy rich. It means that you can make time for what you want to make time for.
Exactly.
And the only way you can do that is by being an entrepreneur. Now, if you work in a job, you get good money. Yeah, you making $100,000, but they work you from 9 to 5.
And you got to be there.
You know what I'm saying?
Being an entrepreneur matches up well with the professional athlete or any athlete that hangs it up, because now you don't have to, as an athlete, like I said, you get what your body allows. You know what I'm saying? What you do with your own, under your own command. And working for somebody isn't always ideal once you leave that platform. You get what I'm saying? Because of what you've done at whatever level it was. Right. So entrepreneurship affords you the best opportunity to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, and like you said, make time to create your own time for whatever your interests are.
Right.
At this point.
Well, in football, we're learning business skills. Like, you learn how to network. An elevator speech is, "Hey, my name is this. I do this. What's your name?" How many times have you played a sport? And I play football. I'm like, man, I play fullback and running back, or I play fullback and linebacker. I'm from Salem. Where you from? What position you play? That's networking. Leadership. You learn discipline. You learn time management. Coach Jackson, he coached at Salem. You couldn't be late. You couldn't be 1 minute late. And it prepped me for the different internships and things, but I didn't know it at the time. I thought I was just participating in sports.
We're not aware of how much sports does for you. Like me, I never made $1 playing a sport. You know what I'm saying? But I got a free education twice. You know what I'm saying? Because of sports and what I know within the game and what you take away from it, man. You, like you said, you can't be late. Punctuality. Like you said, you have to have energy. You have to bring energy. You know what I'm saying? To be successful in sport, you have to bring discipline, passion, all those things that are conducive to
teamwork.
Teamwork, leadership.
Yeah,
all those things are conducive to being successful once you transition out, but you're not aware that you're learning it, and you're not able to, if you're not aware that you're learning, you're not able to apply it.
That's exactly right.
Problem.
I'm writing a book, right? And it's called Becoming a Playmaker. And it's pretty much aligning, the things that you learn on the field and applying it for off the field success. Well, I played football, that's why I said field, but off the court, whatever. You can apply however you want to. But we're learning the skills that we need in order to be successful. We don't recognize it. And we don't recognize it, we can't apply it like you're saying. But it's called Becoming a Playmaker because even though you don't play sports anymore, you're still a playmaker. Right. Even though I don't play sports anymore, I'm still a playmaker. Because if you can turn a negative situation into a positive situation, you're a playmaker. Those guys that, the reason you got to go to school and you got everything paid for, because you was a playmaker. Things could be going bad, right? But coach know he gonna make a play.
Yeah.
You know, Twiz gonna make a play.
And that's another thing you could take away from sport: a win, a loss, adversity, how to handle it. After you beat the number one team, you move on, and you playing somebody that's terrible, and we got to still bring the same level of confidence. You know what I'm saying? You learn every time so much within sports that you can apply and be successful in life, but sometimes, you know, we get in our own way for whatever reason.
What a great conversation. What a great
I don't
conversation.
want to stop.
Right. And we're not going to stop. We still have some time left for Hampton Roads Voices. So when we return, we're going to get into our options. What are your options after you get out of sports? What can you do by applying those skills that they were just talking about off the court, off the field, and putting them into a career or whatever you plan on doing? Also, we're going to get into it's not just on the kids. It's not just on the athletes. It's the village. And what can they do to ensure that it's a successful transition into a successful life after sports? Make sure you keep it locked right here. It's Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91. Hot 91, your choice for hip hop and R&B soul. In the tail end here of Hampton Roads Voices, this episode is entitled Life After Sports. I have Antoine Perry here. I have Reginald Land here, and we are talking about getting it all together. So let me ask you this. We're not taking any more calls, so you're okay, Antoine. It's okay. Technical difficulties, but hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can. But we got to roll with the punches, okay? So, you know, when one doesn't become, one doesn't become an athlete without putting the work in as a child first. So usually these great athletes, they begin as children, you know, 6, 7 years old. They on the court, you know, with their first games and things of that nature, and it continues. So what do you think parents, and we talked about earlier in the show, it's not just parents, it's the coaches and the village. So what do you think the village can really do, but especially the parents, can do to better prepare their children for life after sports?
I think that, and Antoine kind of spoke on it earlier, making sure that we talk about the alternatives and not just allowing, you know, their friends or the other people that they're influenced by to create, you know, that false hope of a future, meaning like, you know, oh, I'm going to make it to NFL. It's possible. You know, anything is possible. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the percentages and the, you know, your chances of actually making it, they're so slim that, you know, you would be crazy to think that, you know what I mean? So that's why the ones that do make it, I applaud them. They beat a lot of people out for the job. But I think even if you have that ability to go there, that doesn't mean that you put all your eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. Because that guy that you interviewed, he neurosurgeon, that's different. Yeah. That's different. Football play, you don't put that, you don't match that with a football player.
But like you said, his big brother gave him a Ben Carson book. That was his role model. Ben Carson and Deion Sanders. Right. Deion Sanders went to Florida State and was a defensive back just like he was. So he held on to what was presented to him. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And he caught him at a tender age of 9 or 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And that's the age where you can make a big impression on kids and provide them with the most information. And I always believe the person that's informed the most is going to make the better decision, right? Versus the person that's not. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Got it.
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, make an impression when they are impressionable. Like, we can't wait till they hit college and then you like, okay, so what we about to do? You know? Antoine, I want you kind of to expand on that. You kind of said something a little bit earlier, but hit it again. What can the village do, the coaches, the parents, what exactly can they do to better prepare the kids for after sports?
I think as a people and a culture, we need to have the conversation of, and we also need to praise other professions. You know, basketball, football, baseball, all those sports are cool, but it's only a select chosen few, and that just is what it is. You know, some kids you can tell what they're going to be when they're 12. Like when I grew up, Percy Harvin was one of my better friends. I knew he was going to the NFL. There was no question in my mind. You get what I'm saying? I can't say the same for everybody else, even a person like Cam Chancellor. You get what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know he would do what he was going to do, and he was pretty good. However, like I said, just starting a conversation of, we all work together as a people to educate on other things that we can do. You can be a coach, you can be a athletic director, you can be a general manager of a company, you could entrepreneurship, you could start your own business. Right. Hey, let me put you in contact, even if it's a guy that owns a local corner store.
Whatever.
You know what I'm saying? Go talk to him and ask him. Just ask him some questions,
right.
and just educate, the kids. And like I say, we need some more option twos. You know what I'm saying? Like we need more of those programs from us, because we can relate better to, our own people. Yeah. And I just think that's where we need to go with it.
Okay. So let's get into what kind of options we have, what kind of resources we have, what is out there. Of course, you can expound on option 2 as well, Reginald, but what is out here for us that you guys know about to help these children or help these athletes transition a little better?
The reason, before I created option 2, I was looking for something in this area that gave student athletes an alternative. And that was something that was genuinely for them. I couldn't really find much. I did a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of volunteer work. A lot of nonprofits in the area. From one hand to another, Pharrell's organization, I teach with them every now and again. Operation Smile, which is more of a global nonprofit. The Noble Men, just different organizations. But I didn't find one that quite really worked with the athletes. So like I said, here locally, we have 2 programs coming up in January. That's for Salem High School in Virginia Beach, and we're working on getting a Norfolk location for high school. And then we have a middle school program coming up this fall. Oh. So, and the biggest thing is going to be the regional conference over next summer. So, like I said, reach out. I would love to get involved. And if you have an athlete at home that need help and that need some attention, or that might be in that stage where he's academically ineligible, or he's going through a rough patch where he's fallen out of love with sports, I have mentors on standby for our man-to-man program. Please reach out, and we can get a former athlete over to your athlete. And we're going
to throw out some contact information here in a bit. Antoine, do you know of any resources out here that can really help?
The first thing, I thought of for athletes is a summertime program that I just happened to see when I was working here last year. I seen Cam chance to walk through the gym, and they had something called VA's Up Next. It's a young lady I know named Elise. I think she has something to do with it, or she's the founder of it. And what she's done is gotten a lot of local athlete football, players to get kids and actually go to, they're actually on Norfolk State's campus, and they put them in the student center and the auditorium part. And I think they explained to them like job skills, resume skills, and things that matter, other than being, I don't think they're talking to them about football in that setting. They're just talking about life skills, being a gentleman, young man, things, and stuff like that's the first thing I could think of off top. But like I said, we need more. Right. Because of the fact that I can't run them off to you, it shows we need a little bit more.
A little bit more. Okay. So this is the time where I want you both to throw out some contact information, throw out what you are doing in regards to this topic. I don't want to know about your clothing brand and nothing like that, but having to do with life after sports. Somebody who's listening, and a mother who needs that for their child, or the athlete who needs that or wants to listen to your podcast and get some inspiration, or just go ahead and run that by me. Websites, social media, if you like.
So I also rap. I have a mixtape. No, I'm sorry. I had to throw that joke in there. So the website for option 2 is whatisyouroption2.org.
All right.
Whatisyouroption2.org. My personal website, if you want to reach out to me for speaking engagements or to have your student mentored by me, my personal website is reginaldfland.com. Again, reginaldfland.com. And then, on either of those websites, you can find a way to get in contact with Option 2's team, or you can email me at rfl@reginaldfland.com. Again, rfl@reginaldfland.com.
And you can check my show out on TMEO Podcast. That's on Instagram and Twitter. My link is in the bio up there, and my show's on iTunes, Google, SoundCloud is just type in the most extraordinary ordinary podcast, and I'm there. All my contact information is there. You can get in touch with me, however, and then we can do it like that.
And follow me on Instagram at success_RFL. And y'all make sure y'all reach out to Antonio and see if he can get me on his show. But his no, I'm joking. This was a great opportunity, though. Thank you, Khilo, and the Hampton Roads Voices program for having us. This was a dope opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I think this was a very important topic to touch on. And again, do not forget that we air every single Friday at 5 p.m., 5 to 7 p.m. And even though we are bringing you talk radio, the music does not stop, okay? So please be mindful about that. Also, this episode will re-air on Sunday at 12 noon. So if you didn't catch something or you want to hear it again, that is your opportunity. You can also check it out on our YouTube page. Get this episode and all the episodes that you love that has aired on this here show on Hampton Roads Voices on YouTube, okay? So I think that is all. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Hot91Online, at Hot91Online, and also be our friend on Facebook, WNSB Hot 91.1 FM. Do not forget, Spartans continue to give for the Battle of the States, the Ultimate Alumni Giving Challenge. And have a great one. Keep it locked right here. It's Hot 91.